Hello! I wanted to do a show about statues, mainly because I saw that the United Nations had put up a very interesting statue in New York outside their giant building, which I'm sure many of you have heard about, outside the headquarters. It looks like a bit of a beast. So it's got like a, I don't know if it's a tiger's head, maybe, giant wings, big tiger tail, multicoloured body. You know, a bit of a mythical creature. And some people were saying how it looks like the beast from the book of Revelation. So I thought that was quite interesting that they've put this up recently. So I wanted to research it more, and the United Nations is saying that this new statue is a guardian for international peace and security, sits on the visitors' plaza outside the UN headquarters. The guardian is a fusion of jaguar, eagle, and donated by the government of, I can never say this, but it's from Mexico, and it's created by artists Jacobo and Maria Angeles. So it got me thinking about beasts and statues, and I just wanted to read the book of Revelation, chapter 13, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion, and the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, and great authority. Interesting. And then later on in Revelation it says, they worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth, speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds, and tongues, and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. So interesting that they put such a beast up, even though they say it's a guardian for peace. So hopefully it is, and it's nothing to do with the book of Revelation at all. But going back to statues, I a few years ago had done a talk with Josh on Gurdjieff, and we'd used for the cover a picture of the statue of conscience that Gurdjieff uses in his book All and Everything. And it was I don't know, about a year later that YouTube went, no, you can't put that picture up, so I had to take it down. So hopefully they won't take this film down with these pictures of the statue of conscience that I have made that will accompany this. So Gurdjieff in All and Everything, his main character is Beelzebub, has gone visiting the earth in the ancient past, and at one point he comes across one of the academies or societies. It's the Akuldan Society, and they had outside their HQ a statue, and I'm going to read to you what this statue was. So this is from All and Everything, page 308. It is extremely interesting to notice here that they erected at the chief entrance of the huge enclosure a rather large of course in comparison with the size of their presences, stone statue called Sphinx, which strongly reminded me of the statue I saw on my first descent in person to your planet in the city of Somalius, just opposite the enormous building belonging to the learned society Akuldan, and which was then called the chief cathedral of the society Akuldan. The statue I saw in the city of Samlios, and which greatly interested me, was the emblem of this society, and was called Conscience. It represented an allegorical being, each part of whose planetary body was composed of a part of the planetary body of some definite form of being existing there, but of the parts of those beings of other forms who, according to the crystallized notions of the free-brain beings there, had to perfection one or another being function. The main mass of the planetary body of the said allegorical being was represented by the trunk of a being there of definite form called ball. This ball trunk rested on the four legs of another being existing there, also of a definite form called lion. And to that part of the ball trunk called its back, two large wings were attached, similar in appearance to those of a strong bird being breeding there, called eagle. And on the place where the head should be, there was fixed to the ball trunk, by means of a piece of amber, two breasts, representing in themselves what are called breasts of a virgin. When I became interested on the continent Atlantis in this strange allegorical image, and then inquired about its meaning, one of the learned members of the Great Society of Men Beings explained it to me as follows. This allegorical figure is the emblem of the Society Akeldan, and serves for all its members as a stimulus constantly to recall and awaken in them the corresponding impulses attributed to this allegorical figure. Further, he continued, each part of this allegorical figure gives to every member of our society in all the free, independently associating parts of his common presence, namely in the body, in the thoughts, and in the feelings, a shock for corresponding associations for those separate cognizances which in their totality can alone give us the possibility of gradually getting rid of those undesirable factors present in every one of us, both those transmitted to us by heredity as well as those acquired by ourselves personally, which gradually engender within us impulses undesirable for us, and as a consequence of which we are not as we might be. This emblem of ours constantly reminds and indicates to us that it is possible to attain freedom from what I have mentioned only if we compel our common presences always to think, feel, and act in corresponding circumstances, according to that which is expressed in this emblem of ours. And this emblem of ours is understood by all of us, by all members of the Society Akeldan, in the following way. The trunk of this allegorical being, represented by the trunk of a ball, means that the factor crystallized in us, and which engenders in our presences the impulses maleficent for us, those we have inherited, as well as those we have personally acquired, can be regenerated only by indefatigable labours, namely by those labours for which among the beings of our planet the ball is particularly fitted. That this trunk rests on the legs of a lion means that the said labours should be performed with that cognizance and feeling of courage and faith in one's might, the property of which might is possessed among all the beings of the earth in the highest degree by the possessor of those legs, the mighty lion. The wings of the strongest and the highest soaring of all birds, the eagle, attached to the ball trunk, constantly remind the members of our society that during the said labours, and with the mentioned inner psychic properties of self-respect, it is necessary to meditate continually on questions not related to the direct manifestations required for ordinary being existence. And as regards the strange image of the head of our allegorical being, in the form of the breasts of a virgin, this expresses that love should predominate always and in everything during the inner and the outer functionings evoked by one's consciousness, such a love as can arise and be present only in the presences of concentrations formed in the lawful parts of every whole responsible being in whom the hopes of our common Father are placed. And that the head is fixed to the trunk of the ball with amber signifies that this love should be strictly impartial, that is to say, completely separated from all the other functions proceeding in every whole responsible being. So many statues we should be using are passing on symbols and passing on messages, and Gurdjieff talks a lot about objective art that comes through when we look upon it, like the Sphinx that he mentions at the beginning of this quote that's sitting in front of the pyramids in Egypt. Objective art affects us in our minds, in our bodies, and in our emotions, has an inner feeling that we may not quite understand what it does. I myself have this sometimes just from megalithic statues, megalithic stones. Like when I go to them, I can think about them, feel them, or have strange emotions working in me, and my body reacts to them. Objective art, objective statues, objective symbolism is to invoke in us an awakening, a way to ponder on things, and hopefully to show us true meaning. Thank you for listening.